Tell him, McCluskey. Tell him what time it is.
Little Hen says it's time to rock and roll.
All you people are so scared of me.
Come quietly or there will be trouble.
Man, that's just me.
I'm Batman.
This is Sparta!
There is a tiger in the bathroom!
I'm an excellent driver.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Pop quiz, hotshot.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
What have I to fear?
The Avengers. That's what we call ourselves. Sort of like a team. Earth's mightiest heroes type thing.
Yes, I've met them.
Yeah. Takes us a while to get any traction, I'll give you that one.
Hello and welcome back to this week's Monday Movie Show. This is the DVD and Blu-ray section of the show. Coming up after the top 10, we have reviews of these films.
Ang Lee's award-winning Life of Pi. Robert De Niro is a kind of a on the streets living writer in Being Flynn. We have a couple of horror films coming up with The Collection, Australian horror in Bait, and another horror film, Sleep Tight.
Yeah, and I have my TV movie of the week, but let's kick things off with the Blu-ray and DVD top 10.
Yep, starting at number 10 with Skyfall.
Very below average film, but there's nothing more to say about Skyfall than what's already been said.
Okay, number 9, Snow White and the Huntsman.
Again, I don't know why it's in the top 10. I think we've said everything we can about Snow White and the Huntsman. Nothing seems to be happening very much in the top 10 over the last few weeks, so it's just been very much the same. It's a terrible film, to be honest.
Number 8 is Hotel Transylvania.
I think this is a carbon copy of last week's top 10. Good animated film with Adam Sandler in it. Adam Sandler is not as annoying as he normally is because he's not actually on screen. He's just doing the voice of Dracula. It has a few decent moments in it. It looks really nice as well.
Number 7 is Taken 2. It doesn't get any much
terrible,
better, does it? Number 6 is Silver Linings Playbook. I don't know if you've seen this yet, have you?
No.
It's a very good it's adaptation of the book, but I've not read the book, but it's a very good drama with both Jennifer Lawrence, who won Best Actress for it, and Bradley Cooper, who gives his best performance up to that point. Very, very good film. Number 5, Seven Psychopaths.
Nope, haven't seen it.
So I haven't seen this. Okay, this is another one that I was surprised that I enjoyed it, but not as a comedy, which is it's supposed to be a dark comedy. I didn't think it was especially funny, but I thought it was a great sort of thriller drama with some good performances. Christopher Walken just owns his sequences. You don't need to see it for anything more than that, really. At number 4 is Ted.
Again, we've said everything we can about Ted. It's a funny film. It was the best comedy released of last year. Sequel is probably on the horizon as well, which I wouldn't be surprised at that. It's a good film, good funny film.
And number 3 is Pitch Perfect.
Not as annoying as I thought it would be, apart from the ACCA all the time, which you just wanted to slap them and tell them to stop doing that. But it's not as bad as people make it out to be. There's a few decent musical numbers in it, apart from when they decide to sing Ace of Base all the time as well.
And number 2 is The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey.
Too long. Way too long. The CGI in the film is just not very good at all. It's not up to Peter Jackson's standards at all. As a matter of fact, The Lord of the Rings looks better than this film. It felt more like a sort of like a sandwich film, a second film, rather than a film that's starting off a new trilogy. The film, The Hobbit, does not need to be split into a trilogy, and the proof is in this film itself, the fact that it is just overly long.
That means the new number 1 new entry this week is Jack Reacher,
which I thought wasn't too bad, but it's nothing very special at all. It's just Tom Cruise. It's just Tom Cruise just doing typical what Tom Cruise does. It's a very safe film for him. It's a decent enough film. It flows pretty well, but it's just okay in my eyes. No comment.
No, I'm just gonna leave it because it's. I think that I really enjoyed it. I really like it. I get that it's kind of it is a bit of an average film, but I still really liked it.
Well, we've steamrolled through the Blu-ray and DVD top 10 then, so why don't we just go into a break, and after the break there's first review of the night.
Right, advert. What do I need to say in an advert? Well, I need to say that we're the Gamescast. I need to say that we're on Twitter at The Gamescast. I need to say we're on Facebook. I need to say we've got a website, thegamescast.com, and I need to say we're on YouTube. Oh yeah, and we're on this thing called Spreaker.com. Don't know where that came from. What else? That's probably it. Right, better record it. Oh, crap. That was 30 seconds. The Gamescast. Grown-up gamers talking about games. Allegedly.
That was advert for the Gamescast. They are attempting a few different things at the moment, so check out their Twitter feed at the Gamescast and discover what they're up to. They've got their show, they've got a couple of other things to do with their YouTube, so check out their Twitter feed and find out what they're doing at the moment. Right, first review of the night is Life of Pi. It's directed by Ang Lee, and it did pretty decent enough at the Oscars, and it did really well at the BAFTAs as well. If you watch any adverts for them at the moment, you just see all the plaudits that the film got plastered across the screen. Just all these 5-star reviews and, it's BAFTA winning and Oscar winning, etc. Like I said, it's directed by Ang Lee, and the film itself, it opens up with a Canadian writer, who's played by Rafe Spall, who's interviewing Pi, and his older form, played by Surya Sharma. And Pi retells the story of what actually happened to him as a kid. So it goes back to when Pi is a kid, this time played by Ifram Khan. I've got them the other way around, actually. Ifram Khan plays the adult Pi.
He does,
and Surya Sharma plays the younger Pi. So it goes back to Surya Sharma's version of Pi. And he recounts the story about his upbringing with his family, the fact that his family had a zoo in India. It was a huge, massive, popular zoo as well. That's until the money for the zoo just stopped. They stopped getting this government grant that they keep on getting. And so the zoo can no longer stay open. So the only thing that the parents can come up with is to relocate the zoo, move all the animals that they have to Canada. So they hop aboard a huge, massive Japanese freight ship with all the animals that they have to transport this zoo itself to Canada. One night, however, a huge, massive storm hits the ship, completely obliterates the ship and everything on board, apart from a few of the animals and Pi himself, who manages to survive in one of the life rafts. However, he's not alone. A couple of the animals survived, and a huge, massive Bengal tiger manages to survive as well. He later names the tiger itself to Richard Parker, and it's just about Pi surviving on the sea with Richard Parker as the only companion that he's got. Here's a clip.
I never thought a small piece of shade could bring me so much happiness. That a pile of tools, a bucket, a knife, a pencil might become my greatest treasures, or that knowing Richard Parker was here might ever bring me peace. In times like these, I remember that he has as little experience of the real world as I do. We were both raised in a zoo by the same master. Now we've been orphaned, left to face our ultimate master together. Without Richard Parker, I would have died by now. My fear of him keeps me alert. Tending to his needs gives my life purpose.
And like I said, the only companions that they have of each other, Richard Parker has Pi, and Pi has Richard Parker. And obviously, evidently, the things happen during the film, which I'm not going to go into because the whole point of watching the film is to go along the journey with Pi while he's recounting the story itself. The film is gorgeous to look at. It's absolutely gorgeous to look at times. I never saw this in 3D. I've only seen this in 2D, and it's sumptuous. The musical scores you just heard there is really, really nice. It's unfortunate that it got beaten at the Oscars by Skyfall, which I just thought that the track from Skyfall is just really bad. It's very meandering. The music suits the movie down to a T. It's brilliantly well acted. Surya Sharma, who plays Pi, is fantastic. The tiger itself is CGI, but you can't tell CGI. It's some of the highest standards of CGI. It's sort of like up on the level of Smeagol and Gollum in the Lord of the Rings films, or even going to something like Avatar, or what Andy Serkis can actually do. So the tiger is really, really well done, and you want to follow along the journey. You want to find out what actually happened to Pi and how fantastical it does actually get. So it doesn't sound real until you watch the film, until you recount the film. And Menace, I know you're good at CGI, but I don't think you can do CGI as well as you can with the tiger in The Life of Pi. It is that high standard. There is, if you've seen the trailer, there is a fantastic, beautiful scene involving a wheel and some fluorescent lights, and honestly, it's a really nice film. It's rated PG, so it's suitable for the whole family, I think. I definitely highly recommend Life of Pi.
Can I just add on to that as well? Because I know you're not into 3D and you saw this in 2D. I saw this in 3D at the cinema, and the 3D on this is some of the best that there's ever been in films. I mean, you've got, as I said in it before, I think Avatar was the first one that was really great 3D. Then you had, I can't remember what the other film was now. I mean, there was Hugo as well, which is good, but there was another one which was a really big sort of wow thing. But then there was this as well, which is there was this, and then there was the Oz, I'm completely futzing my words now. But this is like the second film that did really amazing sequences in 3D, where the 3D just the sequence with the flying fish, that in 3D was absolutely phenomenal, and just completely blew me away when I saw that. No,
okay.
Nothing. No.
No.
I know you're not into 3D, but I just thought I'd weigh in on that because it is one of those. If I was going to show someone something in 3D, this would be one of the ones that I would show someone because of that. Being Flynn, which is also released this week, is written and directed by Paul White. It's based on a book by Nick Flynn, which is somewhat kind of autobiographical, I think, of him and a relationship with his father. The character of Nick Flynn, played by Paul Dano in the movie, is he's a man who has not seen his father for some 18 odd years. He lives in I think it's New York where he lives, and he ends up sort of meeting some people there where he's trying to be a writer like his father was. His father is played by Robert De Niro, but he's no idea where he is at all, no contact with him for this time, and the whole thing is about him basically taking a job at a homeless shelter where he first gets in there, gets to learn some of the people there, know some of the people, and see what life is like for the people that live on the streets. He's then given a phone call one evening where he's surprised to hear who it is on the other end of the line. Here's a clip.
This is Nick.
Is this Nicholas Flynn?
Yes.
Nicholas, this is your father, Jonathan Flynn.
It is.
It is. I have a question for you. Do you have a truck, a pickup truck?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I do.
I heard as much.
From who?
Your grandmother. She mentioned it a few years ago. You do remember your grandmother, don't you?
I do.
Good. Now I want you to get in your truck and drive over here.
I'm sorry, you say you're my father?
That is correct. I was evicted and I need you to get over here and help me move my stuff, Nicholas.
How did you get this number?
Information. Now listen to me carefully. I'm sitting behind a door with a shotgun. I'm waiting for the knob to turn. Get over here right now.
That's an appealing offer.
You're damn right it is. It's all yours. You're my sole heir, Nicholas. I want you to have everything. Do you have a pen or a pencil? Because I want you to write this address down.
So Nick goes over to his father's apartment where his father has been evicted from. He helps him to move all his stuff out into storage. And then the two of them part their ways, and he thinks he's never going to see him again. I don't know exactly how much it says, but it's an amount of time passes in the film, and then so much later, everything's going fine for Paul. For Nick, he's back to his normal routine at his work at the shelter, when it turns out one day walks into the shelter his father, who is now living on the streets and homeless after having a problem and losing his job as well. And it's then about the issue of the two of them sort of reconnecting and having this father-son relationship that they never had. There are issues to do with Nick's mother and things in the past to do with that. There's also this thing of him having a relationship with a girl who works at the shelter as well, named Denise, played by Olivia Thirlby. And it's a good drama that focuses on this relationship between the two of them and this problem of that his father is kind of a drunk, he's homeless, living on the streets, and he's trying to be a writer as well. He's never had anything published, but he is writing too. And it's this kind of thing of him seeing this side of his father and seeing a lot that reflects basically what he sees in himself. There are some really good performances in this. It's probably Robert De Niro's best performance in a long time. He really does do some great emotional performances in this, and some scenes as well where he is drunk or hungover, and he's shouting and arguing. He's very prolific in what he's saying, and he plays this character who is not a particularly nice character. He's racist and he's very full of hate, and he really is the great thing of this film. Paul Dano is perfectly fine in it as well. He has some really good moments where he basically gets into things like drugs and starts to go downhill a bit himself, and it's a good drama with great performances that it should be seen for a drama. I didn't expect it was going to be anywhere near this good, and I was completely blown away by these performances and these characters, and even the fact of it being possibly based on something real. It's one of those kind of, it's not a feel-good film, but it's you kind of feel that you've gained something by the end of it, having just watched it.
Okay, next film is The Collection, which is the sequel to, I think the film originally came out in 2008, called The Collector, from Marcus Dunstan, who worked on Saw 2, 3 and 4. I think he didn't do any more films past Saw 4. He worked with Patrick Melton on them as well. He was originally a producer on the original Saw film alongside James Wan and Lee Winnell, but he worked on a couple of Saw films, and he went off and did The Collector. And this is it actually follows directly on from The Collector. Now, The Collector was about a guy, a serial killer who kidnaps people. This is exactly the same thing, and one of the people who survived from that, Arkin, played by Josh Stewart, at the start of the film, he manages to escape from The Collector himself at this huge, massive nightclub where one of the big set pieces of the film happens, involving, say, about 80, 90 people, a dance floor, and a huge, massive rotary blade. That's all I'll say, because you need to watch it. It's really well handled. And then a corridor, which gets jailed off, and a ceiling that collapses on about 20 of them. So he manages to survive this. However, he survives this, but Eleanor, played by Emma Fitzpatrick, doesn't. She gets kidnapped by The Collector. Arkin finds himself in hospital, but then he's approached by these mercenary guys who has been hired by Eleanor's father to go to this huge, massive factory, which is the home of The Collector, to try and get Eleanor back. Here's a clip.
Going in for the girl tonight. And this man, Arkin O'Brien, is our best chance to bring her home alive.
Let's be clear about one thing. I'll help you get there. But I will not go inside.
Understood. You help us find Elena. You walk. We do the rest. Now tell us what we need to know.
If you want to find this guy, you gotta start at the beginning. We threw me in that red trunk. I cut my forearm every time I got to 100. When we turned right or left, I made distinct cuts. Drive 5 miles under the speed limit. Stop fully at every stop sign. Don't gun the engine through the yellows. Follow my instructions, I'll take you right to where he took me. Right? But you better be prepared, man. Bring everything you got. Because if he catches you, he's gonna make you wish you were dead. Left. I'm not gonna walk in there like this is Sunday dinner, because this is his house, and he will cut your balls off and feed them to you. Stop.
And there's an interesting line in that clip that I played you there. If he catches you, you're dead. And literally, if he does catch you in this huge, massive place where Eleanor is held, you are dead, because this place has been booby-trapped up to the hilt. Not just one or two booby traps placed here and there. Every single room contains a booby trap. The movie itself is extremely gory. I think Marcus Dunstan just thought, screw it, I'm just going to go to town with this, throw as much as I possibly can at the screen during its 83 minute running time, because it's not on very long, and just throw as much gore and as much nastiness at the screen and just have a hell of a lot of fun. And you can see by watching the film that he does have a lot of fun. It's nothing original, but it's one of those kind of movies where horror fans at times will just want to sit down and watch a movie where it's just mindless violence, to be honest. And that's what the collection is. It's just mindless violence. If you've got a good stomach for it, then I highly recommend the collection. I actually like this more so than the Collector, because I felt the Collector was more like a Saw film. This goes away from that. Yeah, it involves traps, or like Saw, but it has an identity of its own now with the collection. But like, if you want gore, and this is the place to go, the collection, it's a decent enough film.
It's, from the description of it, it sounds kind of like sounding like Cube meets Saw. Would that be fair?
No, it's more like Saw meets Funhouse, the TV program Funhouse.
Oh, can you imagine Pat Sharp in a horror film?
Maybe, but it is. It's Saw meets Funhouse.
Oh, that just gave me a brilliant idea. Just Pat Sharp in like Saw or something. That I would love to see that. I'm going to go on to Bait. It's just 'cause saying that Bait is kind of one of those films that does feel like it's a kind of a cross between two films. It's an Australian horror film, horror sort of thriller kind of weird thing. It's directed by Kimball Rendell. It's got a group of characters in it. You've got in there, I can't remember his name now. I haven't got the name written down, but Julian McMahon is a guy in the film he's basically a robber. He's in with a group of people and he's going to go and rob a supermarket and go into the back and rob the manager's safe. When he's doing that, there are these other characters there that have been at the start of the movie. One of them is a lifeguard, and he encounters a shark out at sea, and his friend is actually killed and basically pulled out of his hands and killed by a shark. You have then the whole thing of all these people coming together and being in the supermarket when it so happens a tsunami hits and floods the supermarket, which is somewhat underground, as well as the car park beneath it. Several of the people then find themselves still alive afterwards. The whole building is flooded up to higher than head depth. And they're all sort of gathered, the surviving people, because they're trapped in by debris and such, which is blocking in the building, blocking them from escaping. And they're all sort of standing up on top of the shelves trying to figure out what they're going to do. What's their next move? Here's a clip.
The water's still rising.
No, it can't be.
The whole bloody town must be flooded up there.
No, it's not. Look, they're going to come for us. They know we're down here. They're going to come for us.
That's assuming there's someone still up there to come.
This is all your fault.
Not mine, boy. Not today. Today, Mother Nature sourced all the sinners down here.
Why don't you just shut up?
He can't swim anywhere with this leg. I'll stay here. You guys find a way out and bring a rescue team back.
What? No, Josh. Wait.
Well, how do we get out?
With the car park flooded, that leaves only the loading bay, storeroom, and the front entrance.
Josh, you cannot stay here, okay? You know as well as I do, this is going to bring aftershocks with it. It's going to bring
more waves, I know. So you'll have to be quick.
So you have the group there that are trapped underground, basically, in this flooded room, and then they realise when one of them tries to get out of the loading bay to get out and send for help. One of them is attacked by a shark in the water. Meanwhile, there's also people who have survived down in the car park level who are also there with something else in the water, and they're all sort of trapped and having to try and figure out what they're going to do, be it escape or stay where they are and try and stay there and wait for help. Here's the thing with Bait. It's a low-budget film. It looks it. Some of the effects are downright terrible. There are some of them. The opening sequence with the shark is laughably bad. I actually laughed at how poor the effect was. It made me laugh that much. But I didn't think this was as bad as I was expecting it to be. It's basically that they've taken the ideas of Deep Blue Sea and The Mist, the one that's based on the Stephen King thing with people being trapped in a supermarket and trying to survive and on sort of creatures. It's kind of a mix of the two together, and it kind of works. Basically, the characters are damn near awful. The sequences are not badly put together, but again, the effects don't help it. There's moments where the effects were reminding me of bad effects like Jaws 3. If you've seen Jaws 3, you have an idea of how bad they look, and they're pretty bad. But I really was surprised that I kind of enjoyed it. I got into it. There's characters doing stupid things, and there's characters you know are going to get killed, but you're kind of like, come on, just hurry up and kill them, because they are just bait. They're awful. They're horrible characters that I don't really care for them. But I just found myself kind of enjoying it in this weird kind of terrible but enjoyable film. I know you hated it. You saw it last week. I didn't hate it. I thought you hated it. I thought you didn't like the whole thing of the because you saw it in 3D, didn't you?
Yep.
What was, because I didn't see the 3D. I couldn't get hold of the Blu-ray. I watched DVD, and it's just like I could tell there were moments in it where there was obvious 3D.
Worst 3D I've ever seen in a film, and I watched Resident Evil in 3D, and that's really bad. But this is the worst 3D I've ever seen in a film.
I just found as well. I'm not gonna spoil it, but there's a story where there is a dog involved. It's all those cliche things, and you've got this guy who's a villain who then sort of turns around and starts becoming the good guy, and it's kind of really cheesy in that way. But I just found that I enjoyed it a lot more than I was expecting to, which is what pleased me with it.
No, it's rubbish. Right, Sleep Tight. It's directed by Juan Balaguero. I reviewed this a few weeks ago, so I'm just going to quickly go over it. It stars Luis Sosa, who he plays Caesar, who works in this huge, massive apartment block in Spain. He's the janitor of it. He lives there as well. His mother's in hospital. She's very ill. The people inside this apartment block doesn't get on with Caesar. They don't think he's a good guy at all, apart from one person, Clara, played by Marta Etura. She's a really nice person. He meets up with her every single day, holds the door open for her and be really nice. However, Caesar holds a dark secret in the fact that he creeps into Clara's apartment every single night and does strange things to her, ultimately going a bit too far, where Clara discovers that he's majorly stepped the line. It's an interesting film. It's from Juan Balaguero. It's not directly a horror burger. It's more like a thriller. It's more like The Resident, etc., like I said. Even though it is come from Juan Balaguero, who worked on the Rex series. And he decided to take a step back from the Rex series because Paco Plaza, who worked with him on that, went and did the third one, and he did this. It's an interesting, creepy movie, unlike The Resident, which didn't work very well at all. That had Hilary Swank in it, and it was okay. This one works really well because the character of Caesar is really creepy, and what he does, because in The Resident he didn't step the boundary that much, in this one he oversteps the boundary with something that he does, and a discovery that Clara finds out. He puts ants in her apartment, which makes her stay there and think that she's going crazy, that she's got a really bad skin defects and stuff like that. So it's a really creepy movie at times. It does lose its way in a little bit, the fact that you can guess what's going to happen in the movie, but it's very well acted, and it's a nice step to one side for Juan Balaguero, who's going to work on Wreck Apocalypse, which is the last Wreck film with Paco Plaza. So it was a nice, good sidestep for that, and then he can go off and do his own projects. Which, by the way, he worked on a movie which was released about 6-7 years ago, which was set at Christmas, which I highly recommended if BBC 4 showed it in this country. If they ever show it again, I highly recommend that film. But this is not too bad, Sleep Tight. It's a decent enough film.
I'm kind of curious. Is it one of those ones where it just preys on darkness, or does it actually do more?
No, it's just how the character is, how creepy it is, how far people actually go with obsession. The fact that he is obsessed with the character of Clara, he really likes her. He looks at her as a wife kind of thing, as a relationship. And there's no way he's able to get to the stage of a relationship with her, because she always shoots him down every time when he says, "Do you want to get coffee?" And so he oversteps the boundaries because he's able to do that with them having access to everybody's apartments.
Okay, so it's more of a kind of a mental sort of thing.
Mental / physical.
Yeah. Okay, sounds kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's in Spanish with English subtitles, though, so if you don't mind a subtitled film, then highly recommend it.
We'll probably do a remake sort of next year this time then.
Right, the TV movie of the week. I had two. Well, I had one. It was originally Predator, which is getting shown on Film 4 on Saturday. But then I looked through the other movies that were on, and it's just ironic that Star Trek, the J.J. Abrams one, is getting shown on Channel 4 on Saturday, May the 4th.
Yeah, okay, that's not kind of crossing the line a bit, is it?
No, considering that Abrams is working on both Star Trek and Star Wars. So, yeah, May the 4th, 9 o'clock on Channel 4. Star Trek. I thought it was a really good reboot of the series, and highly recommend watching it before Into Darkness comes out, which reviews are now cropping up online of it. It's been getting really good reviews, actually. Lots of 4 stars.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it, but I mean, it means though that it's a double bill Saturday night on Film 4. And they're kind of like new and old. Well, newish.
Yeah, 2009 for Star Trek.
Yeah, really? I didn't think it'd been that long.
2009, I think it was. 2009, 2010, maybe it's in that area there.
Yeah,
Star Trek and Predator is on Film 4 around about, I think it's like 20 to 11. It's on, so by the time Star Trek finishes, you can switch it over on Film 4 and watch Predator as well. It's the original with Arnold Schwarzenegger, not the remake, not the Robert Rodriguez remake reboot. It's more like a reboot, actually.
Which is also good.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Right, that's it for this week's Monday Movie Show. Make sure you check out the site, mondaymovieshow.co.uk. You'll find some reviews up there. I was originally going to write a review for the ABCs of Death, but if you've listened to the cinema section of the show, you'll understand how bloody difficult it's been to try and write a review up without going into detail or without trying to... Because a lot of the films are so hard to describe because they're so graphic that it's really difficult to write a review of it. I'm going to try again, but I doubt I'll be able to get a review up. But you'll see reviews up on the site as well as trailers also, and the box office top 10 from the US and the UK goes up on there, along with a few features every now and again. Few shout outs to do. The Serum Foundation, who I always shout out for, serumfoundation.org.uk, is holding a Rugby Sevens tournament on Saturday the 13th of July in Birchgrove RFC. Go along to serumfoundation.org.uk or check out their Facebook page, Serum Foundation, to find out details of it. Highly recommend if you like rugby, but it's a good charitable event as well. And speaking about charity, Slater, who's a good friend of the show and a good person on Twitter, that's SLLAYT3R, is having a charity event, a 24-hour gaming marathon to raise money for cerebral palsy on the 20th of July as well. Check out his Twitter feed at Slater, or check out his Facebook page as well. He's constantly putting up details of the event as well, and if you can donate anything to it, where you can give it away so people can donate for the charity itself, please do so. Other shows you need to look out for: Following the Nerd, Thursday nights 9 o'clock. Check out their site, followingthenerd.com. People involved with them are Fort Saxon 07. He's on the show every now and again. He's also does his reviews of the latest Doctor Who episodes and lots of gadgets and stuff. So check out his YouTube channel, Vote Saxon 07, and the Time Warriors, which do a lot of Doctor Who-esque things as well. You've also got Menage a Geek, which is the bald gamer dude, Lubowski, and their friend Bryn. One of the best shows out there, one of the best news shows out there. Every single week their podcast cracks me up. They're only on to 4 episodes. Check out their show on Spreaker, but they are really, really, really funny.
I think as well, the last one about 90 minutes long or something. It's quite long, and that's just them chatting.
2 hours, over 2 hours.
Yeah, and it's not boring for that length.
There was an interesting discussion about fake nerds and stuff like that, and it's a really good discussion, but it is a really, really funny show. I listen to very few podcasts, and that's highly recommended.
Yeah.
And the other 2 podcasts is the Gamescast, who you heard the advert a little bit earlier on, and Lolacost, who were back. Their show went out last night on Spreaker, so check out their show. Just search for Lolacost on Spreaker. That's it. Need to take a deep breath after reading out all those shout-outs. Really do need to shrink those down. Your movie of the week.
Well, it's going to be Iron Man 3 because just see it on the big screen while you can.
Yeah, even though I thought it was a good film, nothing overly better than good. I still say Iron Man 3. I don't think there was going to be any other film that was going to be better than Iron Man 3 this week, apart from Life of Pi.
I would say as well, though, if you get a chance to check out Being Flynn on DVD, because it is a very good drama. Great performances in it.
A Life of Pi for me. Now, instead of playing out with the usual outro that we have an interesting clip. Andy came up with an idea of why don't we play a clip from a film that's upcoming that you need to look out for. And it's just ironic that the film, the TV movie of the week that I chose was Star Trek. Here's a clip for Star Trek Into Darkness, which is out in cinemas a week on Thursday. It's
May
Thursday
9th.
release, isn't it?
May 9th.
Yeah, in the UK and a week after in the US because we did it first.
Yeah, which is rare. Again, Iron Man. We did that with Iron Man as well. So it's good things. Times are good to be in the UK.
Man of Steel, I think we're getting a week.
I think Man of Steel they put it to the same date now.
Have they? Oh well.
Yeah.
And The World's End we're getting it a month before America, which is nice. So enjoy the clip, and we'll be back same time next week, 7:30. Bye.
Bye.
Let me explain what's happening here. You are a criminal. I watched you murder innocent men and women. I was authorized to end you. And the only reason why you are still alive is because I am allowing it. So shut your mouth.
Captain, you're going to punch me again over and over till your arm weakens. Clearly you want to, so tell me. Why did you allow me to live?
We all make mistakes.
No. I surrendered to you because, despite your attempt to convince me otherwise, you seem to have a conscience, Mr. Kirk. If you did not, then it would be impossible for me to convince you of the truth. 23174611. Coordinates not far from Earth. If you want to know why I did what I did, go and take a look.
Give me one reason why I should listen to you.
I can give you 72. And they're on board your ship, Captain. They have been all along.